why I love this podcast is because it's one thing to experience culture, but it's another thing to archive it.
Everything is in divine order.
There's no success without an L, first and foremost.
What up, y'all? It's Phoelix, man, from right outside of Chicago, that Dirty 630, man. We here with Creative Ambiance. Y'all get in tune.
What up, people? Welcome back to Creative Ambiance. Joining me today, I got a good brother out of Chicago, Illinois, but currently visiting Los Angeles. He goes by the name of Phoelix. He is a vocalist, producer, instrumentalist, engineer, basically a damn multidisciplinary artist, right?
Yeah.
What do you ever like label yourself as a certain medium, or do you just kind of go with it?
I don't. My homie, the Mon, calls me a jackknife or like a pocket knife or like
a jack of all trades.
A Swiss Army knife is what he says. Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
I just love to do whatever is necessary to make the shit make sense. So
I love it, man. Well, a man of many talents, of anything, which we're gonna get into for sure. Especially like every one of those aspects. Like I told you a little bit ago, I'm a fan of your work. And I feel like there's a lot of places we could start.
I appreciate that.
We could start with the live stuff, the music stuff, but I want to start with the music. Mm-hmm. So, do you remember the first time that you fell in love with music? And if so, how young were you, or what age were you?
I don't think I consciously remember, but my mom tells me a story about when I was probably 3 or 4. My godfather, God bless, Buster. Eldred Buster Robinson played organ for my mom when I was a kid, since before I was born, since before like the 80s or 70s or some shit, a long time ago. And it was a choir rehearsal that she was directing. She was a choir director, vocalist, all that. Is still a choir director and all that.
Your mother?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so they were having choir rehearsal, and I just would like trying to get up on the organ, and he put me up on the organ and sat me on his lap, and I was just like doing like this, and I just kept like every week, every rehearsal, I would just want to get on the organ, and all the other little boys would want to play drums and all that stuff and just like bang on stuff, and I was like, I just want to play that.
The keys.
Yeah, and it just always was a thing.
How young were you, do you think, back then?
She told me I was 4 when that happened, but I remember being 5, and like I remember being in first grade, but that was probably 6, and like writing a song for like a project, like writing on the piano and like a chorus, a verse, a second verse, like a bridge. Like I remember doing that at like 6.
So it was basically before you were even conscious. You were
it's literally it's in my blood. Like,
damn.
Yeah.
So you had your parents you've been in like brought up in a music family. Like,
absolutely, yeah. My dad's brother, Ray White, played for Frank Zappa back in like the 80s, late 70s, early 80s, and he still does Zappa, play Zappa with Dweezil now.
Damn.
My mom, all her brothers and sisters sing as a group. My grandfather had a quartet. My grandmother sang in the choir. My dad also sings, plays the bass. A lot of my dad's brothers play the bass, a guitar.
Damn.
My little brother plays drums. My cousin Blake David sings.
It's part of the DNA.
I was surrounded by it from the beginning.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So with having been brought up specifically too, like in the church with gospel music, does that play a factor in your sound today? That's kind of a rhetorical question, but like
huge. No, because I think people like, and I don't think it's that way as much anymore now. So over the last few years, but people who you would discredit gospel or like Christian music, but like 90s. Like 80s, 90s gospel, 60s, 70s. You can really go all the way back to like, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s gospel. Like even when I was in high school, like, Ty Tribbett, GA Soundcheck, that's the blueprint for all the live arrangements that I do. Is like, I needs to be this cinematic, and those were, so gospel definitely super inspired everything. It was some fire coming out of gospel, when I was coming up when we were kids. So
yeah, and I'm sure that kind of enlightened you or exposed you to like the different side. We kind of talk about how you're in like a multidisciplinary with like a vocalist and a producer and all those other aspects too. It's like there's so many of those elements within gospel music as well. Yeah. So I'm sure like without even knowing it, you were kind of ingrained in that, and also you were subconsciously like studying it almost, right?
Absolutely. Growing up, there was a drum set in my basement. There were keyboards, there were bongos, congos, little percussions. There was a cabasa was the doorstop in front of my door in my room. So like there were literally instruments all around the house. All you had to do was find one, pick one up, like learn how to shake it, learn how to hit it, learn how to play it, learn how to change the sounds. Like my brother got a guitar my uncle actually got me a guitar for Christmas when I was 6. My uncle Ray got me a guitar. I will never forget this. He came over, he was staying with us for like a few months. He went to Guitar Center and they were just like, oh my God, like we know you. And I was like, whoa. He just gave me a guitar for Christmas. And I was like, so I was surrounded by instruments. You know, it was always like that close to me for me to just pick something up and play it, figure it out. And so I feel like the multifaceted like instrument, it just came from just being surrounded by everything and wanting to know what everything sounded like. And then just movies, really film, you know, when I was in middle school, high school, film really started to play a part in why I wanted to produce and like why I wanted to create actual sounds and like put sounds together and bring them all together as one. But like, you know, before then it was just like learning everything. Like I didn't start playing bass till I was in high school. Oh. You know, my first instrument was actually drums.
Oh, okay.
And when I was 3, I was playing drums. I remember playing drums. I don't remember like getting on my uncle's lap, but I remember playing drums and like not being able to sit on the seat and just standing on the foot pedal and like reaching up. But, you know, my brother played in church. I played in church, drums. You know, I switched to organ. My brother would play drums behind me, and then, you know, but it was always around me. Instruments were always just everywhere.
I'm curious, how does the film aspect play into that as far as like making you really want to get into the music side
So
of
like
things
the
and put
story
together?
with this is like, there was this, I forget, I was probably maybe 8th grade or freshman, I can't remember. And I was watching a Saw movie, and it was like late, like it was like dark
Saw?
out. I was watching a Saw movie, and I was sitting in the living room. My mom was like, "You know, some dishes in the sink, right?" And I'm like, "Okay, let me go do the dishes." And so I just walk in the kitchen, and from the kitchen you can't see the TV. From where you're like doing dishes, you can't see the TV. Excuse me. So I was like, I'm hearing this shit happen, and I'm like, damn, like this is. I feel like something's about to come up, and I'm thinking like, oh wow, like the feeling of like something's about to happen is coming from the music. And so like maybe a few days later or the next day, I sat down and played the movie again and played it on like mute. It was just like, this don't hit the same without the music.
Yeah.
And that just was like, oh, this is a thing that's like really drawing emotion like into things and not things. And I started watching different genres of films and being like, oh, like in dramas or in romances or in comedies or in this and that, this is giving you a feeling of like whatever emotion they're trying to get you to like feel, like laughter or like or crying or like whatever it is. And I'm like, oh, this is what like I want to do this. Like,
so the aspect of evoking emotion through music is like what made you like want to.
Because it's a way of express. It's a direct way of expression where it's like I can tell you, like I can show you how I feel, or I can tell you how I feel, or I can make you feel the way that I feel.
Yeah.
Like, and not in a way of like I'm gonna put my shit on you, but in a way of like I'm gonna make you understand this is in a series of scenarios, a series of sounds and frequencies. Like, oh, like this is the feeling that he was trying to convey through whatever visual was going on or whatever situation he was going through. And it's like, wow, like that's a crazy way of like expression.
It's like a form of storytelling.
Yeah.
Too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you know, with everything that I do, especially working with other artists, I try to like, you know, take their, you know, I was, it's funny because Carrie always says like when we were first in the studio making her album, she would say like, she would express something or say something that she felt, an idea she had, and I would just like kind of stare at her. And like we were dating now, so she'd be like, "Oh, you had a crush on me." I'm like, "Okay, no, I wasn't even on that. I was literally like listening, like looking at you, watching, like still listening to you, like seeing what feelings you were giving after you said what you said, to try to like just read between like, you know, the fine lines and like, okay, this is what you, all right, let's go do this."
Do you think your brain works automatically like that at this point, or
Yeah,
are you like
it's
even
annoying.
conscious of it happening?
No, it's annoying. I can't watch a movie without being like, ooh, like
This would go so good right here.
I hate it. It's like it's a gift and a curse because I can't just enjoy like anything. I'm like, oh, I want to be on the other side of this. I want to just like, it's like, no.
That's so funny because my roommate, who's not here right now, he's a really fire cinematographer. He tells me the same thing because he's watching scenes and he's just dissecting like all of the cinematic aspects of it. You can't even enjoy it.
Yeah, I can't help it. It's like I can't help it. I wish I could like just turn it off. Like there's no switch on it. It's crazy.
Yeah, and even like going back to the gospel part that we were talking about,
Yeah.
like you even named an album
Gospel.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was curious to ask you about this. What is the meaning of the artwork, right? Because you have basically a church that's burning with I'd assume that that's you standing outside of it. What is the like?
So the idea behind that was, you know, it was symbolic. The church was symbolic of just religion and really the structure that it was portraying itself to be, where it was something that, you know, I felt like it was just a lie. You know, as far as I grew up in the church, I've seen, you know, both sides of the pillow or whatever, and it's just like I just don't, you know, it's just it's a tax scheme. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's just what that was like. In that moment, I was very, I was frustrated. I was upset. I was dealing with a lot.
This was 2017 too,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah, a very transformative year in my life. I feel like in terms of just setting myself on my own path and really just like going full force, and moving forward and moving out of where I was into where I knew needed to be.
Yeah.
So that's really what that represented. Me standing in front of it, being like, I'm glad that I made it away from this thing before I got caught up in the fire that it was inevitably like
I
gonna
see.
be. I'm glad that I got the clarity and had the space to go and research and learn, understand, and get my own perspective on life, and realize what I was taught and what that was, and that was just kind of, it was truths, and there are truths inside of it. There are truths in every lie.
Yeah.
But yeah. That's what that was.
And that's like a very important thing is as you get older, you start to form your own opinions and form your own like perceptions, like you were saying, of things. You know what I mean? And sometimes when it's ingrained, as I'm sure as it was for you when a kid, it's like can be almost like life changing. Like when you come to certain realizations.
Yeah, definitely. And being surrounded by, and I've had like serious like standing up, yelling across the table conversations with close friends of mine about like defending religion, because I know a lot about it because I've just been in a very close proximity to it my whole life, in terms of like my father's a pastor, like he's a teacher, he's a doctorate in theology.
Wow.
So he's very educated on religion, on theology, on like the Bible and different religions and all these other things. And so I just really knew a lot about it in terms of like what it said, what it meant, like what the interpretations were. But it was about history and perspective and all these other aspects that we don't really pay attention to, and we just like go along with that, which is what's shit that we've gone along with for years and decades and generations and all these other things. And like I just came to a sense of realization in my own life of what that really was and what that meant to me and what it was supposed to be to me, and how I was going to move forward in that context. And it was like, all right, I'm glad I was there because I learned a lot there, because I understood a lot about community. There were a lot of good aspects to what that was, but in terms of like the doctrine and the way of living my life, like I feel like there were other ways and more inclusive and more positive and beneficial and like ways to live life than that.
Yeah.
And so for me, it just was like, hey, this shit's about to burn down. My bad. I'm out here. I'm going this way. Like, I'm looking like, okay, which way are we going? Y'all need to get the fuck up out of there before this shit burn down and y'all end up in the rubble.
I got you. And you use the music, as you were saying earlier, a form of expression too, right? Because these are things you were going through internally, but you put it out in the music.
Yeah.
And
yeah. I mean, that's the safest way to, for me, that's the safest way to express how I feel, is through music, is through sounds, is through sonics. And also the most effective, I feel like, words are like just words, even in terms of like, in music, even a lot of times, like words are only will hit a certain level of of connection with a listener. Excuse me. Whereas frequency sounds like feelings, like a certain kick hitting a certain way is like, oh, like you meant that, or like that was something's happening right now, something's important. I can say something in a certain way. If I'm like, man, this shit is, if I'm like, man, this shit bogus.
yeah.
If it's like, oh, like
the way you deliver it.
The way you deliver it, and that comes before you even hear the words. The words don't even matter a lot of times. The words are just a confirmation for the feeling.
That's so true, bro. Because something I've realized with that is like, if you say something confidently, people will believe you, even if what you're saying is bullshit. Like,
and that's what the music industry is. But that's
a lot of that. That's
I'm talking that, but you're not saying nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, people believe you until you realize that, and then it's like, oh, you're not really saying shit.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Going back to the childhood part, you grew up in Fox Hills, right?
Fox Valley.
Fox Valley.
Yeah.
Okay, Fox Valley. How was life like for you growing up in Fox Valley?
It was cool. It was interesting. It was fun. It was like chaotic. It was a lot of things in different times of my life. I honestly had like a very open, like I could go out and do shit as a child, as a teenager in high school. I could have a social life. A lot of people, I was in church still, but like my parents allowed me to like kind of go and do shit. And there's a lot of shit that I haven't told my parents that I've gotten into, even to this day, which is like, it's a time and place for everything.
Absolutely,
so like,
yeah. There's some things you just don't want your parents to know.
I got myself into some things that I shouldn't have been involved in, but it was like I still had a foundation to come back. I still understood right from wrong. I still had principles. I still had values. I still had, morals and all these other things. But I just was like, I was still wild, and I was still like, and people like confuse the suburbs with like a safe, comfortable, like, oh, you live in a big house and like it's 5 bedrooms and however two. It's like it's not all like that. Every house is not like, every neighborhood isn't like that. And there's also other projects in the suburbs. You could take you through Aurora, and you'll see all the same things you'll see in Chicago. Like it's not everybody from there is from Chicago, the west side or the south side somewhere, and we're relocated to the suburbs. That's what that is for black people.
Okay.
So like that's how we got out there. That's how all of us got out there. So it was what it was. I honestly am glad that I'm from where I'm from. I don't regret anything about being from where I'm from. And it made me who I am and who I'm gonna be. And we're gonna take it where we're gonna take it. It's a lot happening there right now.
Really?
It is. It's a lot of great things happening right now. A lot of creatives, a lot of art, a lot of designers, a lot of artists, musicians, a lot of business happening. So yeah.
And back then too, aside from what we've already covered with the gospel and like your family upbringing, what were some of your influences outside of that in terms of music or just arts and culture?
Honestly, my dad introduced us to a lot of different kinds of genres of music, styles of music even. I was into jazz, I was into rock, I was into like experimental, I was into like psychedelic rock, all types of different stuff. Sports, I played sports growing up, and so like the teamwork aspect, the camaraderie aspect, the like hard work aspect, like the conditioning, like all that I was ingrained in me. I did martial arts growing up.
Oh, wow.
So all those things of like how you have to work, like you have to be able to take contact and like absorb and like deflect and like, balance, control your power, like all these things, all these aspects like were just ingrained in me. So it was a lot of principles that I had to translate into whatever the fuck I decided I was gonna do with my life. And so that's why I was never really concerned, but I kind of always knew I wanted to do music.
You did? That's what I was gonna ask you. Did you always knew it was music?
I kind of always knew, like, I remember writing that song when I was in first grade and being like, or maybe first or second grade, maybe it was second grade. And I was like, it was about like Native Americans, some Native American tribe and what happened with their tribe. And I had to write something. I had to either like write a poem or like, I just decided to write a song on the piano.
It was a school project?
Bro, I carried my little keyboard to school. I was walking to school. I carried my keyboard to school and sat in front of the school and had my little sheet music and like played it and sang it. And it was like, yeah, bro, this is it. That's what I'm about to do. Like, it was probably like I don't know. But
I read somewhere though that you were like pretty good basketball when you were coming up, right? Or
yeah, I was nice. I do damage to, anybody watching this tape right now can get it.
Can get
it for sure.
The ankles.
Yeah, I'll get my 5 from the crib and get your 5 from wherever, and it's up. I definitely for sure could get the 5 together. Okay. I can't scrape anybody with me on it too. Yeah.
What's your strength? Are you a shooter? You got handles? What is it?
First of all, I'm a lockdown defender. Let's start there. Second of all, I'm a floor general. Third of all, I'm a mid-range demon.
Damn, he
demon.
Does it all.
Demon. And I'm definitely gonna just fuck up your whole plans.
Jeez.
So.
Do you ever think about why sports and music are so synonymous, in terms of like, not artists wanting to be athletes or athletes wanting to be artists, but like I feel like there's a lot of parallels with the culture, right?
A lot, definitely, a lot for sure. Especially the more that both grow, the more that they become more synonymous. I feel like the more similar they become. I feel like basketball in particular, to be specific, basketball and music, rap or anything like any genre, there are different parts that make the whole effective. Like you can have. A lot of people have songwriters, a lot of people have multiple producers, a lot of people have musicians, a lot of people have, A&Rs and other positions. And could be the artist who could be the face of it. But, even, LeBron needs different pieces to, make himself, every player Steph needs different pieces to make himself effective. Everybody needs different pieces to make themselves, to make the whole, successful. And so I feel like that's
a good point.
Dealing with different personalities, what I'm saying, and being able to function within different personalities and letting each person, flourish and grow and finding the right combination. So I keep hitting the mic.
No, you good.
Different combinations of personalities, putting them together in the right combination, the right group of people that can make, this shit work how it's supposed to work. Even the coach, like have the right person behind you to be able to see, step back and see from distance and see where the team needs to go. Like all these other things that are necessary in both aspects in music. Like a manager who's able to see the big picture, see what's going on, put the right, fucking endorsement in place to right whatever to make the shit make sense, to get money, to get situations up and running for artists, to whatever it is. Like I feel like those things matter, and those are the similarities. You need a good coach, you need the right players, the right system, the right playbook. Football, you can't have Michael Vick just in a fucking I formation. Like it doesn't make sense. You're wasting a lot of his talent. Like
the manager in the music sense has to know the talents of the artists,
have to know who
how
you're
to
working
empower
with.
them.
And what they need, what's right for them, and all these different things. So
these are things you've taken with you and transferred from sports to music, right?
Absolutely, and that's why my team is me and my lawyer.
Oh,
That's why my
your
team
lawyer?
is very, very small. It's me and one other person, and I have I'm signed to publishing, but I have my personal individual team is me and my lawyer Eddie Sanders. That's it. That's the group, and when those right pieces come along, they'll be added along to the team, and we'll move how we move. But until then, it's been working fine, thus far.
Yeah. Can you talk about the importance of wearing multiple hats for yourself? With that said, because you wear damn near every hat for your team. So
if I could put it in 4 words, multiple streams of income.
Multiple streams of income.
That's one way to say it. Another way to put it is undeniability. Like there's no room that you could put me in where I can't be effective. Like where I can't do something in a impactful way, in a necessary way, but also on a high level.
That versatility is important. Yeah.
You could put me anywhere with anybody in any situation, and I'll be able to function on some level in a necessary way, no matter who's there, no matter what's going on. And if it's just in the smallest way, I don't care about what way that is. It's just like if I don't gotta do nothing but sit there and be like, yeah, that's fire, cool. Like I'm not worried about how I'm necessary, how I'm used, or how I'm like needed. I'm just like, I'm here if you need me. And so like it's just being able to do whatever is necessary. Like the feeling of being able to know that I can come into a room and do whatever you need me to do, and know I can be effective, and it's gonna be fire. It's gonna be better than when I left it, and when I found it, is a great feeling.
It's a jack of all trades to the truest form of that.
I lean into those kinds of things. Like, and it's not to say that I can do everything, but it's to literally just be able to help however I can help in every way, and not be like, damn, well, I don't know about that. But like, I'm gonna go learn, I'm gonna go figure that out, and then I'm gonna come back and be like, all right, I know I can do this. Like, I couldn't always, like, I couldn't always mix the way I mixed today. But like, I sat with engineers, like I sat with L10, I sat with Don Julio, I sat with Brian Schweiler, I sat with a bunch of people, and was like, what's that? What does that do? What does that mean? What is that? Okay, explain that.
Yeah, remaining curious.
Yeah, you have to. As soon as you feel like you ready to teach some shit, you cap out. You just cap out. You totally cap out. You totally cap out. You see it all the time.
So it sounds like being studious or like remaining a student of the game has played like dividends for you in the long run, right? Because
100%.
There's a reason why you can do and as much as you know right now, because it's through experience, right?
Yeah.
For the most part, like you've actually gone through it.
Yeah, but it's experience, and it's learning, and it's also actualizing and taking the experiences and putting them into practice, and doing things and responding and acting in a way where it's like, okay, I know I've seen this before. I'm going to go this way instead of going that way because I know what this is going to do, what this results in. So I'm going to go that way instead, and actually putting those practices, those lessons into practice, into reality. And it's just like, always just keeping your eyes open, keeping your ears open, and just listening first. No matter what, no matter who you're talking to, no matter who you're having a conversation with, no matter who's in front of you, like treat everybody with the same amount of respect. As like everybody got something to say, everybody got something that I need to hear. And so my first mind is not to be like, oh yeah, I got something to tell you, I got something to share. It's like, okay, well, what do you want to say? What do you need to share? And it's not that I'm keeping anything from you. It's just like I'm always open to learn. I'm always ready to learn. And that mindset just like, I don't know. It's more effective.
I think that's really important to hear from you specifically because I feel like you're put in so many rooms where you're surrounded by like top level artists in the music industry, all the way down to like lower level workers in the music industry. So like treating everybody with the same amount of respect and also knowing how to provide value to everybody else is like
Yeah.
a huge aspect.
Because no one's more important than anyone. You know, no one is more valuable. No one's more has more importance than the next person. Like everyone is the same. Like everyone has the same amount of like value on this planet to me. And so I'm gonna treat everyone. If it's some homeless person I see on the street, somebody I see, some rich person that it doesn't make a difference to me, who or what you are, what you've done. It's like I give you the same respect, I give you the same attention, the same time, the same hello, how you doing, you good, like okay, like it's the same.
That's really refreshing to hear, bro, because in Los Angeles,
It ain't like that, bro.
there's not like that at all. It's almost the opposite of that. Like,
Yeah.
people will treat you based off of what you can do for them out here.
100%.
It's a game.
100% is a
It's
game.
insane. Yeah.
But you know, you learn how to play it and you learn how to maneuver it. But you can't get lost in it. A lot of people get lost in the game, get lost in this thing, and start to become shit that they really not.
Yeah.
And it's gonna do what it's gonna do to you. You know.
Yeah.
It's gonna do what it's gonna do to you. It's gonna overcome you. It's gonna do its thing, and it's just not healthy. But you have to find a way to remain true to who you really are. And that's something that I've managed to. I believe I've managed to do. You know, however close I came to losing myself and whatever. Like
You've been through it too, like, right? Where
absolutely.
you've almost, and I'm sure you've seen it firsthand too with,
I've definitely seen people who come out here and get to, and change and become something that they never desire to be, never have expressed a desire to be, at least. And it is what it is. Like things happen. People go through phases. People learn. People have to bump their head. I'm a person that has to bump my head to learn shit. Like I understand it. I'm not knocking nobody's process.
yeah,
But it happens.
it does happen.
And it's really about just keeping, staying true to your values and keeping people around you who are going to keep you to your values and who really truly know you, who understand you, who only want to make you better and also see you succeed, but like keep you true to who you are. Not like I'm just going to like try to dumb you down, or like I want to just silence you, like you too hot, you too turned, you too lit, like let me just like you need to chill. But like, okay, don't forget, like this is why you're doing what you're doing. This is the reason that you said you wanted to get this, whatever. It's because you was gonna do this or you was gonna do this. Like stick to who you are, stay true to the things that you said you was gonna, whatever you told God you said you was gonna do when you got this, like stay with that. Like don't forget that.
Man.
Like, those type of people.
Cheers to that, bro.
Man, salute to that.
Salute to that. We didn't even get a cheers in yet.
We did.
On the pod. Yeah, we did an official cheers in with that. Nah, man, that's important. I see why your father was a pastor, bro.
Nah, it's some things in there. There's some things in there that's there's some things in there that's that's legit. It's about things that's deeper than just. But yeah, I feel like that's important, man. You gotta stay true to who you really are and what you really want to accomplish in this shit. And that makes this whole shit a lot easier if it was when you really have a plan, You really have a plan because you can maneuver and do all this shit and then be like, okay, well, as soon as I get boom, 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 then I'm good, I'm out. Like, this is what I want to do. I can go do this and set this up and X, Y, Z, and then.
Is everything you're speaking on right now, does that come into play when you decide who you're collaborating with? Like, obviously, you've collabed with, like, amongst many others, Saba, No Name, Smino, talked about Monty Booker. Like, do you just work well with these people and, like, you're a good judge as a character with them? You have chemistry, obviously. Like, everything that you're speaking on, does that come into play when you're deciding, like, who to work with?
Well, those relationships were super, super, super organic. And, like, those didn't have anything to do with, like, positioning or, like, where I wanted to be or what I wanted to do. Those just happened with me just, like, doing what I was doing and being around certain people who would put me around these people. Like,
Got you.
How I met Monty was I knew Saba through this. I just about to say a lot. Let me slow down.
Nah,
So I met Saba I believe first. But I met Saba through Ralph Jean, who is now Smino's musical director, drummer. I met him through him. Met Saba through him.
And when was this?
This was 2000, and I believe 15.
Okay. In Chicago?
14 in Chicago, yeah.
Okay.
And me and Ralph and M Skills, the bassist out of Chicago, we're playing this gig, some gig on the West Coast that was just a disastrous gig. Like, we were just like, man, I'm tired of this shit. We had the craziest arrangements to this show, and it was just like a kind of a farce of a tour. Like, somebody set a bunch of dates and nobody came, and we were just like, this is we too far to be doing shit like this. And Ralph was like, hey, I got this gig with Saba coming up, you should play. I'm like, man, hell yeah, like, I'm with that. And so, we played the gig and we had the first rehearsal, and Saba was like, you trying to slide to the crib and like, let's make some beats. And so like, you know, after that, at that show, I No Name opened. Well, actually, was it? I don't know if it was Raven and Monty or Smino and Monty. I can't remember who opened. It was them, and then No Name opened, and then Saba was the headliner.
Oh,
But
damn.
I met.
So they were all in the build.
I met all of them on that same day. No Name, Smino, Monty, Raven, Chris Classic,
Wow.
L10, on the same day. Brian Sanborn, Luke Titus. I met all of them on that same day.
Wow.
And so it was like, oh, what's up? Like Chicago music scene of
Literally,
the like, future. Like,
of that time.
and so
Man.
I started going to Saba's house and like making beats with him, and like No Name would come, and then she was like, yo, y'all want to make my album? And then we went to LA and made Telephone, Cam, met Cam, did Shadow Man in Chicago, like went to LA, made the album. It was like, oh,
It's
like,
crazy how things like that happen, you know,
Bro,
off of one
was a
occurrence.
blur, yeah.
Like, it makes you think about, like, what if you just didn't go to that one,
what
like,
if we
trajectory?
didn't move to the city? Yeah, like what if I never moved like to the actual
So
city?
that happened because you were already in Chicago, right? Or
Well, I
do
was
you-
coming. Well, I was in a band. I was in a band called The Art of Cool in 2000, from 2012 to probably 2014. And so we were like, we had came to the city and we had played the House of Blues, we had played the Metro, we had played Reggie's, we had played all the like Chicago like band venues, and we just kind of broke up, but we were kind of in the city still, and I was just playing around Chicago, doing church shit, doing like a little like grown and sexy, weird ass fucking 40 plus gigs and shit, like just trying to make money as a musician, like in my early 20s. And I met some musicians who knew some artists who went to school with some people, Saba and them, like, and that just got me connected to artists who were really trying to do a thing. I'm like, oh, this is what I'm trying to do. Like, I'm really fired. Y'all really fired. Let's put this all together and like try to build something. And it just happened. Like,
Were
it
you-
just happened.
was being in that band what caused you to move from Fox Valley to Chicago? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It wasn't even like them. It was just like, there's no market in the suburb for real to play shows. There's no venues to play shows. Let's go to the city where maybe we can get like, you know, a bigger, because we were seeing Chance, we were seeing kids these days at that time. Like we were like, okay, like this band shit happening. Like let's try to get to the city where we can get some type of like
Buzz,
buzz,
yeah.
and then try to go do some shows, like do festivals and like other shit or whatever. And it just didn't work out. But like, you know,
That
in
led
that time,
to-
I met a bunch of other musicians who were playing for people. Like, you know, I met like I said, Ralph and them, who knew Saba from like, you know, Columbia or just being in the scene, and then just got in tune with all them. I met Monty and Smino. Well, I linked up with Monty and Smino in the studio actually because he had tweeted something. It was like, y'all looking for a soulful bass player, and Saba was like, yo,
you.
you need to meet Phoelix, and tagged me on Twitter, and then put me in a group chat with him. I remember where I was. I was at Kyle Fanner's house downtown. He was in the Roosevelt buildings downtown. And he had went to class, and I was just chilling down there. I was like, bro, I'm literally downtown. I'll take the blue line out to Austin right now. Just stop me from the train, and we'll go. And I think I literally went out there. I actually went home, and then recorded it and sent it to Saba. He sent it to Monty, and Monty was like, yo, just do it a little more chill. And then I did it more chill, and that was it. And then it was like, yo, pull up. That started playing for me from then, like, for the next few years.
Man.
And then it was just on.
What year was that?
That was
when,
2015, 2016.
Oh wow.
Maybe, yeah, 2015, probably 2016.
It's crazy because these artists that we're speaking on now are like on the forefront. You know what I mean?
Nah, for real.
And back then, like they were in the early stages of the come up. You know what I mean?
We were all early. Yeah, we were all like, I mean, they were. To me, I knew about them already. I knew who No Name was. I knew who Saba was. I knew who Smino, and I just found about Smino and Monty like a few months before then, like before all this started to happen. But like I knew about all them, like, and so it was just cool just to be working with local artists who I felt like were talented, you know, because like I don't know where I was from. It was like a lot of people who were doing shit that was like I felt like I was outdated, or like kind of just like repetitive, or like not really like creative, and I was just like.
This is a new, like, progressive
Alright,
sound.
Like I'm on some whole other shit, like, and so it just really was comforting to me to find these people, like, and we were actually friends, like we actually built a real relationship, so it wasn't like as contrived as like, okay, well, this person knew this person, brought them into the same. It was like, no, we just like linked up that way. It just happened that way.
Yeah, there's something to be said about developing organic relationships like that, right?
Bro, for
Because the
real.
chemistry is unmatched when it's organic like that, I feel.
It's unmatched, and you can't redo that. You can't remake that. You can't like design that. You can't like reform that same. You can't recreate that same feeling.
Very
Like,
true.
The way I produce is like now is like I can't do the same thing twice because of the fact that I know it has to be that real in the moment where it's like once it's done, like that's that. If it works, it works. If it gets lost, it's just gone. Like it can't be redone. Like that's a moment. And
Very
so
true.
It's different that way when those moments come to life. You know, it's different. We've seen the result. You know, of
You
that
can
with all
hear it
these
in the
people.
music too.
Yeah,
when it's
absolutely.
not forced or
for
constructed or
real.
manufactured like that.
For real.
Right?
People know the difference.
When did you start to develop your own sound? And how did that come about?
Oh man. So around like 2013 or 14, I started recording my own music and like singing and trying to rap and like do things with my voice and be creative. And I think around like I can remember, I'll say this as a moment when we were making Shadow Man. This had to be like May 3rd, because I remember it was 2 days before my mom's birthday, because I remember that John Doe's birthday is the day before my mom's birthday, and everybody went out to get alcohol and came back to like celebrate her birthday, and that's when I went in the studio to do like my Shadow Man vocal stuff
Okay.
and all the shit that I did on Shadow Man. And so that was before that happened. Saba, Cam had like given the big story about the song. It was me, I was there, The Mind, Smino, Saba, No Name, obviously. I think Monty was there too. John Doe was there. I don't know if I'm not forgetting nobody, but that's basically the people that were on the song. And so Cam just they all go and do their verses. Everybody, they're like, oh, we finna go to the studio. So I was like, hey, you need to let Phoelix like just go in here and just do his thing on this, because we had been working already before then.
As a vocalist?
So he kind of knew like, oh, he can do all this shit. Let him just go do his thing. But I hadn't really been around nobody else like that much.
So they weren't aware.
They didn't really know how Saba knew, because I was pulling up to his crib like 3 times a week, coming from the suburbs like to the city, back to the Austin, like going down, like whatever. So he had been cooking. So he was like, yo, let Phoelix go in and do his thing. Like, let him just go like cook. And so I went in the studio and like sang like some harmonies, did this little part, and then started playing and just like added the outro, like the whole outro section. Did some little harmonization of some of the chords, and everybody came back, and the song, the song was like different, you know, then. But it was like, everybody was just like, oh, like, this nigga raw. Like,
crazy.
And I was like, oh, okay, all right, cool. Like, I can do this. I can figure this shit out. And from then on, that was kind of like my first moment of like confirmation, where I was like just doing the thing that I felt like was actually me, for real me, and like it being like, nigga, that's hard. And I'm like, all right, cool.
Because you got that boost of confidence from people that you respected, right? And people that you actually value their opinion on, right?
Definitely. And I felt like, you know, who I was tight. And I felt like I had some, like, a different angle, a different perspective, a different, like, sound, you know, that nobody really had or has. But it's like, it just felt good for people that I respected to be like, don't overthink it, bro. Like, okay.
You're like, I really am that guy.
And they've been that, like, confirming ever since. Like, you know, even to this day, like, they all be like, nigga, like, you going crazy. Like, keep going.
Hell yeah.
Like, all right, for sure.
Because there's something to be said about how you perceive different people's opinion of you. You know what I mean? There's people that will try to force their advice or opinion on you that you don't really, you know what I mean, take into consideration too much versus people that you do and you respect, right?
Yeah, definitely.
There's people that, they'll try to force their opinion on you and you didn't really ask for it. And also, I think there's something to be said about taking the right advice from the right people, right?
Absolutely, and knowing, you know, how to ask questions, knowing who to ask what questions to, and knowing what responses you're gonna get when you ask the questions. There's some things you can't predict, but there are certain situations where you can ask a question and know what result you're gonna get, and be able to base your, you know, actions off of that response in a certain way. It's about the wherewithal of, why am I asking this question? What do I want to get out of this result? What do I expect? Do I have expectations? And like, what am I gonna do with the answers when I get them? Like, is it worth even asking the question to, like, you know, it's a lot. It's a lot of ways to get information. It's a lot of ways to understand, you know, things that you want to understand. It's about how bad do you want it? Do you really want the truth? And what are you gonna do with it when you get it? Do you know what I'm saying?
Some people can't handle the truth.
Most people can't handle the truth.
Exactly. Like they want the feedback, but it's only as good as it is until you actually put forth action, right?
Literally.
And you make an effort to implement it.
Literally. Literally. If you get bad news, what are you gonna do with that? Like if you get the answer that you don't want, if you get the worst possible scenario, is that's the reality. What are you gonna do? Do you want to know that? Like people will just negate asking a question or figuring out information because they already know what the answer is gonna be a lot of times. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you'll like you'll lie and not say something to somebody because you know how they gonna feel when you tell them. So you'll be like, oh.
Yeah. You don't want to.
You don't rather keep that hurt on you than be like, damn, I just don't want to.
And that applies to all aspects, whether it's with somebody you're working with, whether it's a relationship,
Yep.
whether it's a family member, friends.
Yep.
Like, nobody wants to give somebody honest feedback when they can handle it, right?
Yeah. When you know the result.
Exactly. So, translating back to your career, when you first started to notice some like real progression in your trajectory, what age were you, or what part of your career were you in?
Progression in my trajectory. I probably was. I don't know. I think when I was in college, I realized that I really could be nice.
Okay.
I went to a school called Olivet Nazarene University.
Where's that at?
It's in like basically Kankakee, Illinois. It's like this another south suburb of Chicago. It's a small school. I got fucked into a weird college situation where I wanted to go to HBCU, but my dad was like, I'm only gonna give you money if you go to a Nazarene school, and then didn't.
What's a Nazarene school?
It's just like a different like denomination of like Christianity.
Okay.
Like Presbyterian, like Methodist, like Nazarene. It's just another like, it's a few different rules, different regulations, and like.
Okay.
It's like fucking purple and violet. It's like just a little different. It's like basically the same thing, but just so.
Okay.
I mean, it was cool. I met a lot of good, cool people there. A lot of nice people there. Few people I'm still in touch with now. But I think then I was my jazz professor. I was a music major, a piano major, and my jazz professor was a guitarist who went to Berkeley in like the 70s.
Oh, wow.
And so he was just like, his name was Freddie Franken. I'll never forget him.
Freddie
He
Franken.
changed my fucking life. He would take me on gigs that I would like should not like. Was not. I hope he's not still there, like about to get fucked because I said this. But like he would take me on gigs all the time, like where I was like 18 or 19 and I was going into bars and like little 3-piece, 4-piece shit and just had me just playing this piano with him and just like,
Oh, crazy.
come on, like come sit in, like we're just gonna just put the music up and just go. I'm like, all right, fuck it. I don't got shit else to do. And like, but like that really just like showed me that I could really like sit in any room and like be effective. Like, you know, it showed me that as a musician. But I got into composition a lot then. I got into writing music and composing music a lot then, and like just like forming sentences, forming phrases, forming emotions like in like a certain amount of time. You know, like things like that I wasn't really having to do for real. Like I learned in college, and I was only in school for a year and a half for real.
Oh, wow.
And then that year, like,
Did you come to a realization that like,
I was like, yeah, I'm good.
okay, I'm good off this?
I'm gonna go back to the crib and like figure out how to do this shit on my own. Also, like my parents was not trying to fuck with me on nothing. I was on a basketball scholarship and a music scholarship.
Oh, okay.
And that's how I was going to school. And I had to drop I had to quit basketball because they wouldn't let me do basketball and music at the same time. They said it was conflicting. Because you have to do marching band and concert or like a major band as a music major, and it was just. Summer was crazy, chaotic. I was late for practice. I was late for all this shit. And it was like, you got to pick one, like, well, music. But like, damn, don't make me choose.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I needed an extra, like a little something. Music only gave me so much because they were being weird. That's still like weird. But I mean, it's not still weird. I don't give a fuck now. But like, it's weird. And then my parents was like, we're not about to put no more money if you can't get those. I'm like, all right, well, I'm just gonna come home then. And so I just came home.
So you, with even with that, or just any of the other steps that you've taken since then, are you very strategic with the things you do? Or are you more like you kind of trust your intuition and you just kind of go with the flow?
It's both. It's both now. I think that my intuition and my like planning is so locked in. I feel like, I don't know. I can't even explain how in tune I feel like I am with like what I'm supposed to do and like how shit happens. Like me and my little brother always say time isn't real, but timing is perfect.
Time isn't real, but timing is perfect.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So it's like time, like when you feel like you're supposed to do something, and it never happens the way you think it's gonna happen, but like it's always gonna happen when it's supposed to happen.
Okay.
And you could plan for something, and it's at least in my experience with music, like you could plan. I got start seeing life. you can plan for something, you can expect something to go a certain way, and it may never go the way that you think it's gonna go in a series of ways. But whatever's supposed to happen is going to happen the way that it's supposed to happen, and you'll be more benefited by the way that it happened than the way you thought.
So you need to. So with that said, it's important to accept the outcome and adapt, right?
100%.
Yeah, constantly adapting to what happens.
Yeah.
If you're in a constant state of flow and adapting, I feel like that's more important.
win.
Because like you said, nothing's gonna end up turning out exactly how you envisioned
So if
it.
you're
or
already
planned
cool
it.
with that from the beginning, like if you're already cool with like shit just going a different way than what you think it's gonna go, you're not really. You just like,
Yeah,
I'm here for whatever's about to happen.
Very true, because you get so mad and like uptight about things not going your way. Like you could waste so much energy on.
There's so much shit that I do not give a fuck about in life.
you seem like you're very content and unbothered.
But I care. I love everything. I'm very a very emotionally in tune. I'm a very emotional like person. But like I also do not give a fuck at the same time. Like I'm a super duper Gemini.
Okay.
Like I love everything. I love everybody. I want everybody to be happy and comfortable. But I also just don't give a fuck about anything.
That's admirable, because you seem unbothered to me. Like you seem unbothered about shit.
I'm glad.
Which is
that
good.
it
Yeah,
like,
and I'm not sure actually, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure it's taken some experiences in life to get to this point, right?
100%.
Have you always been this way, or?
No, definitely not. I mean, I would cry after losing a basketball game, and up until I was in like 7th grade.
Wow.
Just because I was just so passionate. It wasn't because I was like, oh, we lost. I was like, I just really wanted. I tried so hard.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, damn, like, I gave everything I had, and we still lost. Like, I feel so defeated. But it's like, but it's not over. Like, we only lost 2 games this season. Like,
Yeah.
you won 12, 13, 14, however many games. Like, you lost 2 games. Like, you're good. Like, you're still in the playoffs. You're still in the whatever. Like, there's still time to like make it right.
Do you carry that competitive nature with you today, or not as much?
I think I'm too competitive for like this.
What do you mean?
Like I think I play roulette, and so like I'd rather like be competitive like with something like Russian roulette than like.
I got you. Well, bro, I got a dartboard. After this, we could
Come on,
we
let's do it.
could run some darts.
Let's do it. Let's do some little open the cash up of it.
So you're selective on what you're competitive with.
Yeah, because I come from a family of like competitors and like fighters and like violent like people. So it's like, not that I'm gonna get violent, but it's like I'm just really, when I get competitive, I get really I get too competitive for a lot of people. Like me and my brothers, like we can get that to that point and be like, yeah, it's just fun. But a lot of other people can't like understand.
They'll take it the wrong way.
I'm just playing, like I'm just fucking around. Like I'm not really serious. I'm just getting competitive. We're just playing a game. But like, so I just be like, hey, like it's cool. Like we're not gonna take it there. But
yeah.
No, I am competitive by nature, definitely, yeah, for sure. Naturally, yes, I am a competitor.
I feel like in artistry or music, it has to come out in a different way in terms of like how you express that, because I feel like with some people, being competitive could result in you not quote unquote hating on them, but you wanting to, or preying on somebody's demise, versus you just wanting to, like, oh, you see maybe one of your homies doing something like really major and you want to match that or top that. It's like it can come from a good place. It doesn't have to come from like a.
It does, and I think that's where excuse me. That's where me and Monty and I feel like Groove really like, you know, connected. It's like we were competitive, but it was from a place of like I want you to win. Like I want to see you at your best. Like it wasn't like I'm trying to beat you. It was like you raw, like you the GOAT. We will always be like, nigga, damn, like I gotta go back in and be like, bro, what the fuck is this? Like, you know, but it's just we're pushing each other. It's not like a competitive, I want to put you down. It's like I want to pull you up. Like I'm doing this, and I'll show you like what I did. Like I want to see what you did. I want you to show me what you did. Like what was that? Like how'd you make this sound like that? But you know, there are groups that get competitive where it becomes like that. Because I'm trying to keep you out of situations where are you getting too far? I'm just not I don't see you here, and like it's shit like that.
And
But
you want to surround yourself with people like that, right? Like you want to surround yourself with people that are constantly elevating because you don't want to be the top dog in the group. I feel
No,
like, right? Like
never.
you want to surround yourself with people that are better than you sometimes.
always,
Always,
want to be around somebody who got something that you don't have, who understands something that you don't understand, you know, and that's always gonna help you grow. And you always want to go and find a thing that nobody understands, or that thing that you can't figure out, and be able to give it back and be like, hey, I got some shit for you. Like, yo, okay, you got this, but watch this, boom. And like, because it's always gonna help the next person grow, and it's gonna push them to a point where they can give you something back. And so you want that balance of like, yeah, I got something, but I know you gonna have something after this. Like, I know you gonna have the next thing, or like, I know you got some shit. Like, like, we and Monty done been on so many tours where we done been in the front and the back of the bus making beats, and like, we'll listen and be like, bro, what the fuck is that? Like, and just that's made me so much better as a producer, as a musician, at everything. Like,
especially because you two have such a distinct sound of your own. You know what I mean? That
but
like
it's so different.
that's what I'm saying. Like Monty's beats like sound like Monty's beats. Your beats sound like your beats.
Man,
like
he always tell me like, bro, I want to learn instrument. I'm like, bro, I want to learn. I'm like, bro, you're fine. Like, you don't have to learn. Like, don't go and like get too like constricted by like theory and like, bro, you're amazing. Like, I always talk about glass flows. Like,
oh yeah,
like,
that's
bro,
crazy.
As somebody who understands the piano, like, bro, I love playing that song. And I don't know, I don't care if he knew or didn't understand what he did, but that shit is just, to me, that shit is fucking brilliant. I'm like, bro, like, you don't have to, you know what to do because you understand how to make music, how you make it, and it comes off exactly how you want it to come off. That shit is brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Groove the same way. Like, it's just the way he be chopping shit up, sampling and cutting shit up is like, bro, it's fucking brilliant. Like, you don't have to go in. You can if you want. Like, I want to learn how to use Fruit Loops, but Monty won't show me because he's like, bro, like you good. Like, stay in Logic. I'm like, man, I just want to learn how to just like, but the differences like definitely add, you know, in comparison. Yeah, definitely add.
And all your guys' minds work differently, obviously, right?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wait, besides some of the artists we've talked about that you've worked with, are there artists, like what artists are you a fan of currently?
Tricky question. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I don't like listen to nothing new.
Okay.
Or that like I really don't work on it. Don't nobody show me, or like.
Is it because you're so consumed with like your current art that's within your realm?
I just don't ever not have nothing to do.
Okay.
And so like even like, you know, when I went home, like I was I wasn't listening to nothing. I was playing games with my brothers. I was chilling with my family and shit like that. I started making Carrie's album, and after that, I literally went directly into mine, and it was just like I just be playing old shit. Like, I really just be playing old shit. Like,
We're talking old shit. How old are we talking?
Like 80s, 90s,
okay.
previous like R&B, like old classic shit.
Is that where you draw a lot of inspiration from?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And video games and TV.
Oh, okay. Even from the 90s and 80s too?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I watched Frasier.
okay.
I watched The Office. Like, I watched The Office probably 4 times this year.
Oh, shit.
Like, I keep The Office on. Like, when I get in the Uber to leave, I'm about to put The Office on my phone and, like, keep watching.
Are you studying it or are you just like
No,
a fan?
I just watch it.
Okay.
I'm just a fan.
Okay.
I'm just a fan of The Office. But, like, I do study film, though. I do research film. I do watch, like, the Oscar, like, winners of all time. I go through the lists and, like...
Oh, wow. You, like, nerd out on that stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm, like, weird with, like I'm really a filmmaker, like, film person. Like, I just also play instruments.
Have you ever considered getting into your film bag?
I can't wait to get into my film bag.
So it's going to happen?
I've been working on getting my film bag for, like, a minute, like, a few years.
Man.
Which is really why I haven't dropped no real music in, like... What tempo was? I mean, I dropped something last year.
Yeah.
But like, I haven't dropped a real album in years because.
So you've been
like,
focused on film. That's
I've been
why.
trying to get into the film situation, and I'm getting there. I'm getting my ducks in a row.
Okay.
I'm getting my ducks in a row.
I mean, you seem like somebody that goes all in on it, so that makes sense why
I have to.
why you've taken a little bit of a break from music to focus on that.
Yeah, and it's been a blessing to be able to, you know, like I've had something happen every month this year. You know, I've had something come out every month this year. It's July, like, what, 2nd or something like that, 3rd, whatever
Yep,
day it
2nd.
is. And so like I've had something happen every month. Something coming out this month too. Like it's a blessing to be able to still work and have things happen and things, which is why going back to being multifaceted is like, okay, I can do this, this, and this, and also just work on this on the side, and then these things can happen, consecutively.
That multiple streams
It's
of
just,
income.
yeah, for half the year I'd have been eating off of shit that happened that last year,
yeah.
2 years ago. Like so it's a blessing in that facet, but it's like, okay, now I can really charge. I'm not really put time in. I can really like put my energy and my my ducks into this, and then that can cook into do what it's gonna do. But it's about to be up. I can't even lie.
Okay, I'm excited to see what's to come with that.
If
there's anything similar to with your music, bro, like I'm definitely excited to tap into that.
Yeah.
What's your creation process like when it comes to music?
It's very random, but not random in the sense of like it's more spontaneous. Like it comes in waves. So like I don't know. I like to do things that I don't normally do till I get inspired. Like I don't really read a lot. Like I have like really bad like ADHD or something.
Oh, you do?
But I've never took medicine or
Diagnosed,
nothing. But my
yeah.
mom told me I was 20. Was like, yeah, you got ADHD. I'm like, huh? She was like, no, you do. I'm like, why you? I could.
She diagnosed you.
Yeah. Well, they got me tested in kindergarten. And
Oh,
just
they
never
did?
told me. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
It just never. I mean, it was better because I learned discipline and like those things helped me like really be able to control my, like okay.
It could also be a crutch too.
It
like,
is a
you
crutch.
claim somebody's this, they will believe it.
Just
and
throw a kid a pill and like tell him to just figure it out. It's like that's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
I learned discipline. I mean the fucking hard way. But like I learned discipline, and I have a certain level of discipline now where I can sit still and focus on things that I need to focus on and get shit done. But like that helped. But I think that my process in making music is very like spontaneous, but it comes in waves. So like I'll do some random shit like read and like just be inspired and just like by the way that someone said something, by the way that they worded some shit, and be like, and I'll hear something in a way, or I'll look at a certain part of the sky and hear something and like make some shit, and I'll just make a bunch of ideas, and whatever idea is like the most potent to me, that will be like the preface, like that'll be like the foundation. Okay, we're gonna go off of this, and then I might take the other 4 or 5 and just like rework them.
But where are you putting these ideas and thoughts down on? Like on paper or no? Like
No, I'll either voice memo or like I'll like make them in Logic, like a scratch idea, and like just record some shit on my computer. I make a lot of shit just with my computer, with my laptop.
Okay.
And so it'll just be on there, and I'll just come back to it, and I'll eventually like develop it either in the studio or mostly on my laptop. Like most of my album I made just straight on my laptop.
Oh,
that I'm about to
damn.
put out whenever, this year, next year, whenever.
Jeez, it's coming.
But just like putting ideas together and just like letting them be what they are, and then letting them develop as they develop, like treating them like live existing things, and like letting them grow and like do what they want to do and move how they want to move, and like, okay, if I want to get this feature on it, if I want to change the key of it, if I want to slow it down, if I want to speed it up, if it needs to be a higher pitch, if I need to be in a lower pitch tone, if I need to change the way I sing it, like
So you just refine it from there.
from the start to finish. There's no way that it has to be for it to be right, except for the way that it needs to be.
Okay.
So I don't hold it to anything. I don't keep it like a certain way. 'Cause it's like, oh, this is the most fire. It's like, no, like maybe maybe tomorrow it will be something different.
That's true.
But like at a certain point, it becomes what it is, and it's just like, to me, it just gets stuck. Like my album now is like it's stuck that way. Like it's like this is what it is. Like there are pieces that have to be added on to make it more of what it is, like features and shit like that. But like it's there now.
Does this new album have a theme to it, or?
There's not really a theme to this one. That's kind of like contradictory to what I said this whole time with film. But this one is more of like just feels. Like, and I wanted to do something that's just like feels, because I feel like if I get too far into like themes, I'll just get lost, and there'll be no like. Let me start with like the.
So it's not to say there won't be one, but
yeah.
it could construct into one eventually, or.
No,
down the line.
we're gonna get into the story shit, into the movie shit for sure. Like within that same year. But like this first project is gonna be straight feels, hits, like shit you gonna play at the bar, shit you gonna play outside, shit you wanna play at the pool,
fire.
shit you wanna play like at the parties, everything. It's some R&B shit, but it's like it's jams though. And I just wanted to make jams because I love jams. And I feel like we need some jams, some like R&B jams. We don't got no R&B jams.
Yeah.
Not even gonna lie.
Not currently,
not from the fellas, not from the guys.
Nah, not at all. Not at all.
Not from the guys.
I'm excited to hear
Not
it too. Going back to the creation process part, what dictates what ideas come out versus one you kind of either trash or put to the side?
Everything is involved. Everything is.
You probably have so much heat, bro, like just in the archives.
More than I will ever talk about public.
I feel like why is that such a big thing with producers? A lot of producers hoard like some of their most fire work, I feel like, and sometimes a lot of the best work doesn't make it to the surface.
I don't know. I don't know.
What is it?
Because I'm one of those producers that's like, it's shit that I got with a lot of people that's like, that I hope will come out that may never come out. And a lot of shit that, I have a certain artist, like, I'm not going to take the beat away because it's like, this song is too, you got to put this song out. Like, this is going to be your beat. I'm going to have to just do something else with them. But like,
I got you.
I don't know. Sometimes it just be that way. I love that that I know about the hidden tracks that, X, Y, Z that the homies got that will never be heard. I'm glad that I have that perspective now.
You experienced it.
Yeah, because like I want to hear the Wayne tracks that never came out. Like I want to hear the Jay tracks that never dropped. I want to hear the Andre songs. I want to hear the Andre album that never came out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but I get to hear, the unreleased whoever album. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
I guess it's specific to each artist or each producer. Like, I'm sure they all have their own reasons. But like,
yeah,
I hear it so many times when like an artist will like release a pack or release an EP of like beats they made like 6 years ago, 5 years ago, and it's just like, bro, like you sitting on this.
You should have dropped
like,
that a long time ago. Yeah.
But they all have their own reasons, and like nobody's entitled to anybody else's art too, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I feel that, but at the same time with the artist, it's like you want to make sure that that this is also, as much as it's a passion, it's like, this is something that we care about. This is also our career. Like, you want to make sure that the business is something that's going to be able to, take care of you the way that you like, with as much as your energy as you put into it. It's going to give, as much as you sow in, you are able to reap. And so I feel like a lot of times with a lot of people, it's like, okay, I want to wait till the business gets right for me to do something, which is, a big reason for why I haven't dropped in so long. Is like, it's not because I don't have to drop, because I don't care, I'm not making music. It's like, because I want to make sure that, I'm setting myself up to make the right business move, professional moves. Like, I'm going to drop music. I've been putting myself out there. I've been, also singing. You heard my voice, you heard my songs.
Yep.
You heard my lyrics with my voice or somebody else's voice on them. And so, like, I've been still, like, putting myself out there and releasing myself to the people. But it's like, I want to make sure when I get ready to do my shit, my business is set up the way that I need to be set up for me to be able to move the way I need to move in the future with the way I'm trying to move. And how I'm moving, how everybody's moving is not the way that, the industry might tell you how you're supposed to move. And so that's why, a lot of things look different or may feel different, because people trying to figure out how to get their business together and how to do shit the right way, because it's tricky, it's murky out there. It's a landmine. It's a landmine. It's a minefield out there.
It's a minefield.
Yeah,
I got
for
you.
real.
So you just trying to be militant in the way you release the music, not just put it out and see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm learning. I'm a fast learner.
Fast learner.
I'm a much faster learner than a lot of people will ever understand, and that's to my benefit.
How long would you say that you've actively been doing music at this point?
As a career?
Yeah.
Well, when I quit my Nike job, I was working. I think my last My last job was at J. Crew.
J. Crew.
And that was December 26th, 27th. I quit my job, and I'm doing music full time. We were playing a show at Reggie's, which is not like a notable show to like quit your job on. But I just knew, like, I'm like, nah, this is just what I got to do. Like, I just can't. I was working out first, second shift, like going to school, like producing for a band, like, nah, I need to just go in and fail. Either I'm gonna do this or I'm just gonna fuck up and go back to.
Yeah.
And so that was probably 2013.
Oh wow. It's about
and
10,
so 10 years.
Annie,
10 years. And it's been.
Do you ever think back to that?
Yeah, hell yeah. I think back to all that shit often. Now, especially over the last few years, especially. But it was necessary. I'm glad that I did everything that I did, and it's crazy because you look back and you like, shit was fucked up, like shit was dark, shit was like lonely, shit was whatever. But
for
like,
your life.
Yeah, just in those times, like from 2013 to like even moving to LA was like weird. Like, I mean, shit still be kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's just like I'm thankful for every step that I took because it was necessary to be able to be where I'm at. And the shit that I can do now, the shit that the shit that I'm able to like, the reach that I have, like the accessibility that I have, like the platform that I have now, like, bro, I dreamed about even this, and this is just the beginning to me. It's still, I'm 31. It's still I'm still just getting cracking now. Like,
That's a great way to look
but I
at
feel,
it.
it feels, I'm like, yeah, bro, it's on.
If you could speak to that 21-year-old version of yourself in 2013, what would you say?
Bro, you good. Like,
You
just chill.
don't stress.
Bro, you good, bro. Don't trip at all. Like, save the stress. Like, you good, bro. Like, don't stress about nothing, bro. Like, just float. Just float, bro.
And so much has changed in music from then to now, even with
Yeah.
like just technology and the way everything's distributed, and
Yeah.
the quote unquote game is so different, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially over the last, few years, it's been even more, gravitating or whatever the fuck word it is. It's been changing more in the last few years than it has in the last 10. But it's
Yeah.
like, what are you gonna do but adapt and like move with how it's gonna move, or are you gonna be, intrusive and be the opposing force and try something different and see if it makes an impact? Like, you have a choice, and this is the thing that people don't realize: is you always have a choice.
Yeah.
Like, you can go with the flow or you can go against it, and there are consequences and repercussions to everything. But like, you can choose how you want to approach the shit.
And
What do you want to do? What do you need? What do you not need? What skills do you have? What skills do you not have that other people around you have? Who do you know that can help you? What are you gonna have to go and spend some money on? What are you gonna have? What can you save money on? What can you invest in that can benefit you in the future? Like, you have a lot of decisions that you can make. And that's what a lot of people don't realize, especially in this. I had no real knowledge coming into this, like, of the industry. I thought this shit was like, okay, if I can get to the highest level of music, if I can play at the highest level, if I can operate in the highest level, if I can make jazz and get to the level, I literally am with Herbie, like, it's lit, bro. It's lit. It's fucking lit. Herbie, Robert Glasper, Corey Henry, all these people all
Insane.
around me. I'm sitting next to them like, bro, it's lit. Kamasi, Thundercat, fucking James Genius. I'm like, bro,
This is where you were the early version of yourself. If I can make it here.
as a child, I imagined being around these people.
Yeah.
And I'm here. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with this world. This is this world, but it's like I have additional things like to say with it, or not against it, but like in addition to that, like there's a world that exists that's learned from this, that's been watching this, that's watching y'all do what y'all do for however long since I've been alive, and now I've interpreted that into something different, and it's not less than what you have to say. It's equally as important as when you had to say what you had to say.
Yeah.
And so it's like just finding that truth in who you are and what all that falls into play.
Those are real introspective questions to ask yourself.
Yeah.
And it seems like being intentional with your decisions is even way more important now than it's ever been. Like,
Yeah, the more you go, the further you get, the more important it is to be very intentional, and put your. And my girl be saying stand on that. Like, if you said something, like, put your weight on that. Like, be sturdy in that. Like,
say it with your chest.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
How did you come up with your name, Phoelix?
So I feel like Felix was the person that I was like trying to grow into, like the person that like I'm maturing into, like as if like me who I am, I'm making mistakes, and like the better version of myself is always gonna be like this person. So no matter where I'm at, I'm always trying to evolve into this person. So it's just like the person that's telling me like, hey man, like you need to be doing this, you need to be this way, like don't do that, like don't worry about that, don't trip on that.
It's like your conscious mind.
It's like my conscious, but from future, like in the future.
Interesting.
And
What does Phoelix mean though? Is it just a name that you?
It's just a name.
coined?
It's like a name. It's like me, but it's like me like in a little bit ahead of where I'm at now.
But what made you
Always.
what made you choose Phoelix though over anything? It just came to
Just
you.
it just sounds like his name would be Felix.
Okay, you can't really describe that.
No,
Like,
you gotta kind of see it. Like you gotta kind of meet him, and then like okay, yeah, like Felix.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's weird because everybody calls me like my mom be calling me by my government name, and my little cousin called me by my government name, which is Mike. I'm like,
Okay.
"Man, I'm not calling you. I'm not calling you Felix. Like you just Mike." I'm like, okay, but everybody now call me Fee. My girl, her family call me Felix. It's like,
Oh, that's crazy.
but it's like that's just like the person that I've grown. I feel like I've grown into it. I'm always growing. To me, I'm always growing into him. But like, I've come a long way from the person that I was when I decided to, like, this is what I was gonna do, and so that's just what it's always been. It's helped me grow like a lot in who I am, who I was trying to be, and just really pushed me to like become the man, the person that I knew I was capable of being.
That's fire.
Yeah.
It's like you're aspiring to become this person throughout your trajectory.
Yeah.
I hear you on that, because when I came up for the name for my collective and my podcast, I was similar to you. It just came to me. It was like ambiance, like creative ambiance. Like
Yeah.
I can't really explain like why ambiance.
How it's the way it
There's
is.
a reason behind it, right? So like ambiance is like a French term for the feeling or atmosphere of a place, an environment. And I've always like pushed positivity in my life, and like creative ambiance, and the logo of the actual brand is like a plus sign, right? And it's like positive energy, positive atmosphere, positive. Like I strive to curate guests like you who are like pushing that in their art, in their music, and in any discipline or medium that they're in. And stuff like that is just like naturally I put the two and two together to create this. So sometimes it's like you don't necessarily have to have like a quote unquote
A real
epiphany.
definition of a reason or something like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's real. A lot of things happen like that where you might, I guess a lot of times where I say something on a song and I won't know what it means, but it'll make it so real. I'll be like, damn, like, I said that.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know that you might go through some shit after you say it and be like, damn, this makes a lot more sense to me now than it did when I wrote it. Cause I actually like didn't know what I was even talking about, but now like I done been through this shit. Like, damn, that's crazy. Like a lot of shit happened like that.
And especially if it means something to you.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Lastly, we talked a little bit about this new album that you're working on. When can we expect it? If you can share that, and is there anything else that you want to touch on in regards to it?
I don't know when. You know, I was trying to shoot for the fall
Oh, this year or next year?
this year.
Okay.
But I shoot really high, and so like I won't even call it to a fault. That's just who I'm always gonna be. So I feel like it may be early winter, spring when everybody opens back up next year. But it'll be shit happening this year. There'll be some shit dropping this year. There'll be songs, some visuals dropping this year, regardless. But it's an album on the way. It's a series of albums on the way.
Series of
It's a
albums.
series of visuals on the way.
Ooh.
I'm getting ready to put my foot into this shit, like in a way that I have yet to do. And so I hope, motherfuckers done did what they had to do and got their shit off, cause
You coming?
I'm on my motherfucking way.
Hey, let's go. I love to hear that.
I'm spinning the block.
I think I'm ready for it. I'm sure everybody tapped in with you is ready for it as well.
I hope that everybody, I hope that everybody is ready for what the fuck it's about to be, because it's about to be up and it's about to be on. I've been playing around and all this, doing all this shit y'all been doing. I hope y'all been getting ready for this motherfucking apocalypse.
Oh my gosh. And it's gonna be R&B too, you said, right?
It's gonna be R&B, and there's gonna be a lot of other things following.
Oh my gosh. What else can we expect outside of that? Anything else?
Movies.
So the visual aspect is really important to pair with the music,
visual
like you said,
aspect,
right?
the visual aspect is gonna be the bread and butter to the whole thing. But the music is gonna be the music without a question. But the visual aspect is where I'm really gonna, that's where I'm really gonna fuck it up.
I got you. For sure. All right,
how we
Felix,
gonna fuck it up.
man, let's end on that. I love the
Yeah.
energy moving forward. Like I said, I'm tapped in. I'm in your corner moving forward.
Yeah.
I'm ready to see
Let's
what's to
go.
come.
Let's keep it going.
And yeah, man, let's keep it going. Any last words from you?
Nah, man, just, tune in, follow me. I'm gonna be more on social media. I don't know, I'm be posting shit, but I'm gonna post more.
What are the socials for people?
Shit, Phoelix, PHOELIX _ I think that's what it is, something like that. Yeah, just you'll find me.
Oh, we'll put the links in the
The
description
links in the
below.
joint. Yeah, I don't even. That's how much I'm not on my shit. I don't even know, but I'll be on there more now. I
Okay, be
promise.
more active.
I will be more.
You can be on
active.
TikTok or not?
Nah, I'm gonna make a TikTok after this.
Okay, you make a TikTok after this.
Right after this, I will. I promise.
All right, bet. Yeah, it's crazy how you got to put your shit out on different platforms now.
You have
Like,
to, you
yeah,
have to. You have
It's
to.
part of this new game we were talking about before.
You kind of do have to.
Yeah, it's the adapting part we
Yeah,
were talking
yeah.
about, right?
Yeah, it is.
There we go.
It is.
All right, well, with that, we'll end. Felix, I appreciate you, man, once again. This is Levi checking out from Creative Ambiance. We'll see you next time.
Appreciate you, my boy.
Peace.